Fate decided.
Let's get this party started.
Craven something scary.
Hello, Sidney.
KillJoy Jake.
Don't you swear at me, you little shit! Don't you ever raise your voice at me! I am your mother!
Nightwatch Zone.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Get up!
The collective has spoken.
Yo, what's up, collective? Q&A Mondays, what's going on? We're ready to rock and roll. What's going on, guys? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude,
All right.
Did
Let's
you
go.
change the speed of that intro? Because it feels like it breathes more than the other one. It feels like maybe it's the beat that's taking its time. You know what I'm saying?
I like that it's taking its time.
It's like it's taking its time. It's not in a hurry. It feels like it's grooving. I'm serious, man. Like, dude,
yeah.
I was just wondering.
No, it's actually something different, but it's like, I don't know, man. I was just like, man, it's kind of similar to the other one, except it is slower.
I like it.
It's breathing, as you said. I
It
like
does.
it. I like that, man. I never thought
Breathing.
about it like that. It's breathing.
Yes. It's like, hey, man, we are the collective. We are the collective. You know what I'm talking
All
about.
right.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you
I
know
know
what
you
you're
guys
talking
do.
about. All right, so guys, you guys in the live chat, what's going on? Hey to everyone. Let us know if you have any questions you'd like us to answer. We'll try to get to as many as we can. But just to say hello to a few of you guys and also a blanket hello to everyone. What's going on, Tom? Saying I'm interested in seeing the story behind how Kirby came back and became an FBI agent. Ooh, yeah, I'd like to see that too. Yeah. And what's going on to Wayne? What's going on, Wayne?
Hey, Wayne.
What's up?
Good to see you.
Yo.
Good to see you. And let's see, KillJoy Jake's in the chat too. What's going on?
Hey, KillJoy
What's
Jake.
up?
I heard you got Movie Smoothie monetized. That's congratulations, KillJoy Jake.
Oh, yeah.
Congrats.
Dude.
Congrats
Bro.
to that guy. Great.
Did,
work.
Wow.
Hey,
That-
did
that
you,
guy.
did you officially file and everything?
Yep. Yeah, it's the whole thing's in progress right now. So and
Nice.
hopefully it won't actually take a month like how it said it did. I forgot about that. Like I forgot it's like
Yes.
it's like, oh, in a month I guess you'll be monetized. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I'm like, that's fine. I'll wait. You know, I'm patient. But I was just like, oh, I didn't realize it took that long. That's crazy.
You'll be running up that hill.
Takes a couple
Running
days.
up that hill. Yeah.
Man, it took my channel a month. Actually, I think it was closer to 6 weeks. I didn't think it was
What?
ever
Really?
coming.
6 weeks?
Did
Oh
it?
my
Yes.
God.
It did.
Oh my God, man.
But when I got that email, it didn't matter. All those weeks just washed away.
As somebody that monetizes channels for a living now,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Fate. How long should it take?
it usually takes a couple of days, especially after your first one, because you already have one monetized, and I'm assuming you added it to the same AdSense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should only take probably about a week. at
Cool.
the most.
Nice.
Nice.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's
Nice
great,
stuff.
man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well, good stuff.
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
Yeah, very
Make
big
it some money.
congrats.
I
And-
appreciate that.
And Edrin saying, hey, what's going on, Edrin? I think this could be the best Scream movie yet. Nice.
Yes.
I think it has the potential, definitely.
Yeah,
Be
definitely has
one of the
potential.
better sequels. I'll go that
Yeah.
far. I'll
Yeah.
say that it has a chance.
Mm-hmm. And hey, what's going on to Sarah? What's going on, Sarah?
Sarah.
Yo.
AKA
yo.
just Sarah. Let me stop.
Sarah
What's up, Mav?
with the H.
Sarah. Sarah.
Wow.
What's up, Mav? Mav's in the chat. What's going on?
Hey, Mav.
What do you
Jen-
guys think? What do you guys think the likelihood of this upcoming Scream being the best sequel? I don't think anything will ever pass 96.
No.
This will.
Right.
I'm saying it right here, right now. This will be the best sequel.
I think so too. I'm with
Wow.
you 100%. I really do. I think
Wow.
everything that we've seen, the way it's looking, I really think this is going to be hands down like consensus. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some people that are like, like whatever. But I think the
Mhm.
general consensus will be like, that was the best Scream movie we've gotten since '96.
The trailer
I don't know.
itself, I like so much. Like I could just watch
yeah.
that trailer on
That was the best
repeat,
trailer.
man. I'm like, that's
That was the
awesome.
best trailer we've ever gotten for Scream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
that was
anything
the best
tops
trailer.
it trailer wise. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
the
Shrine of
movie's even
Ghostface,
halfway-
I'm in, dude.
Yeah, if the movie's even half as good as the trailer was, then this is gonna be the best sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jen, thank you for reminding folks to please hit the like button. What do you think about that, Steven? Does this movie have that potential to be the best sequel?
I mean, certainly at this point, I have to say, sure, it could until we see it. It certainly could because it is a sequel, so it's going to be looked at with the others.
Mhm.
But you know, that's I got to see it, man. I'm not ready to make the leap yet, even though the trailer's great.
Mhm.
But we got to see how the actual movie is, and we'll see where it ranks. I think it could definitely rank up there high. It has potential to.
Yeah.
But you know, until we see the story and really understand the motive and who, I mean, all that stuff has to be done really well for me.
Yeah.
But I like what I see, and I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like, if we're being honest, like, how much competition does this film have stacking up to the other sequels? You know, like, people have their different rankings and stuff, but like none of the sequel, like, usually, like, based on the consensus, usually it's either Scream 2 or Scream 4 are the ones that people really like. Those are like two that usually people have up there. Some people even have those as like their favorite. But even those movies are kind of just like neutral ground. People either kind of love them or hate them. You know, I don't think it's like, I don't think the bar is that high. I don't think we're talking like Godfather Part 2, like, right? To like, use a Scream reference and an actual good sequel reference. Like, I don't think like any of these Scream movies are that great to where it's like, there's no way that this stands a chance. Like, I really do think like the bar isn't that high that it is achievable. I just think 96 is untouchable, right? Like, it's just my opinion. I just think not even just for what it did franchise-wise, establishing it, but it was like in many ways a perfect movie, pacing, timing, motive, everything.
Right.
And it just completely changed the game of horror as a whole.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's going to be another movie, especially a Scream movie, that's going to have that level of impact to where it's like, man, I think this might be like, from a modern sense, might be the best movie. Like, maybe you could say like, oh, this is going to be the best movie, but I think about all the other sequels, and Scream 2 and Scream 5 are kind of up there as far as like, my favorite sequels, but like, they're not that great. Like, Scream 2 is extremely slow paced, and the whole like Billy's mother, like the good old fashioned revenge and stuff. It's
Dude,
not
that's
like,
my favorite part. I can't believe you would crap on that.
Wow. Wow. Dude, I wish I could just play a clip of like the 85,000 times Jake has gone off on Scream 2.
Okay?
Yeah.
That would have been funny, man. I wish I could have.
Yeah, I mean, like, Scream 2, like, I love Scream 2. I think it's a great sequel, but it is very slow paced. It is very like, which is understandable. They had to turn that around in like 2 days, basically. Like, they had to film it and deliver it so quickly, so it's understandable. And then, Scream 5, like, I thought was great pacing wise, stuff like that. Like, I thought it was very high moving, but it wasn't like it had a lot of flaws. It wasn't like a great movie. Scream 3 is all over the place, right? No detriment to Wes Craven. That wasn't his fault. That was the studio's fault. But Scream 3 is all over the place. And it's one of those movies that definitely grow on you over time. But like, from a film standpoint, it's not a very good movie, right? It's just not. And then Scream 4 is hit or miss for people.
Steven's shaking his head.
It's not. It's just the pacing, the story, the execution, how like Ghostface becomes a god and can teleport and all that. There are so many things wrong with it.
He becomes a god.
Right. I understand people love that movie, and rightfully so. I mean, it is a beloved movie in the franchise. But if you compare that and stack it to like normal movies, that movie's not very good. And so it's just, we have biased as like Scream fans because we just love the franchise. But from just a pure movie perspective, and even Wes Craven has talked badly about that movie. So, you know.
And you know what I will say about 3 is it's grown on me, but it's the only Scream movie that the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. Like that was the only one where the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. It's grown on me. I like it now, but it's definitely my least favorite Scream movie. I still enjoy it though. I think it has some really fun parts. Great, some of the best character moments in the franchise, I think in 3, but the house, I just can't get over the house blowing up. Like, how would nobody smell the gas before? I can't get over it. I don't know. That's crazy to me. But
could have been tainted with. It was planned.
What?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Steven. Explain it.
No, I'm just
Okay.
I'm just saying, you never know.
Right.
You know?
Well, look. I will say 3. It to me, it's got a lot of rewatchability to it, though. Like, and I don't know if that's because you have, you know, these characters. They just have such funny, like, colorful moments. Obviously, Parker Posey, and you know, it's got. I don't know. There's some fun to it. Like, it's hard for me to explain it. So to me, out of the whole series, that's the one movie that, you know, whenever I rank them, I kind of tiptoe around 3 because there's a lot of it that is really, really good. And obviously we know about, you know, things that they were dealing with the movie, but I will say that I'm a fan of it, a big fan of it. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. But to Fate's point, and then we've got a super chat we're going to jump to. Yeah, I think that this movie definitely could be a really good sequel. I don't want to jump the gun yet. Right. You know, it was a great trailer. I mean, a very fun trailer. I've watched that trailer so many damn times. It's not even funny because it's just so good. It's very entertaining. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we've seen movies, and not just in horror, where the trailers are fantastic. And then the movie it's pretty good, you know, or it's okay.
Right.
You know?
And that's possible. That could totally happen.
It's very possible. It's very possible. So I don't want to jump the gun yet, but I will say this. They've got all the elements to be one of the best or the best sequel. It's just a question of, and I think Steven said it, like, if the motive and the reveal is spot on, if the opening is spot on, and these characters have really good arcs, you know, in other words, they're going to need some hoops that they got to jump through. You know, they've got a great setting, and it looks like they're going to utilize that setting very well, and they're going to make us feel that atmosphere. So I think that is pretty much going to be checked off for boxes, but we don't know how the reveal is going to be. We don't know what the motive is going to be, and we don't know how the characters are actually going to be fleshed out in the movie as far as the story. So those are the things that I'm just a little, you know, I'm just concerned about.
Well, I mean, how many times, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I always think about how many times in my life a trailer fooled me. Like, you know, I've seen a trailer and it's like, dude, this is amazing. And I'm like, my hopes are through the roof going into a movie. And you're like, oh, dude, whoever the editing team were brilliant. Like, if they were making short films, they would be winning Academy Awards.
30-second films.
But yeah, right. I mean, if you can make a 2-minute film, even, brilliant. So I'm skeptical of trailers anyway, because I've been burned so many times. But I will say that visually, what we've seen looks great. But there's an hour and 56 minutes of other content that none of us have seen. And that's the part that I've got to see fleshed out before I'm ready to go there. I'm with you, Knight. I think you and I are kind of on the same page, what you described it.
I oddly have this feeling that the trailer is going to suck in comparison to the movie. I have the exact opposite thought, which is funny. And the only reason I say that is because I've noticed some whack shit in the trailer, but teasing some cool scenes, if that makes sense. Like when Gail is shooting the door or whatever, and she says, like, I'm going to shoot you in the head. They cut out fuck. they cut out the word fuck, and it sounds so goofy. I don't like. It's just not a very good cut, and it just sounds really. I don't know. So I'm like, I know when I hear that line in the theater in the movie, it's gonna hit a lot harder. It's gonna be like, oh my god, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a great little fight chase scene with Ghostface and Gale. I don't know. There's little things like that I'm like really excited to actually see on screen where they're not censored or there's something isn't cut out a little more. Me personally, but I don't know. I'm just so excited for this movie. Everything that I've been wanting to see in a Scream film, I'm seeing teases of that in this trailer.
Well, to kind of to add to that though, most trailers that were like, man, that was really good. Most of the time, the disappointment is you go to the movie and it's like, okay, well, we got all the meat and potatoes in the trailer, right? How many times do we watch a trailer and it's a great trailer and you're like, man, that was great, but all the good scenes were in the trailer, so it ruined it.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel like to be the case with this Scream movie.
Yeah.
They did a good job with the trailer, and we know that that's going to be just a small percentage of what is actually going to be in the film, and that's why I think this is going to be really good. Like that's why I think this is going to be really good. My only concern is it's just too fast paced. That's my only concern about Scream 6 is we don't have time to really take in like go, especially if everything one night, which the trailer does seem like most of it is going to be in one night. If that really is the case, then that means they're going to be off to the race.
True.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So which I'm all for. I don't mind it, and that also begs. I know we got a super chat, but sorry, they got a million things running through them.
We can tell.
Of first off, night. Okay, but that also begs the question of: do we have a traditional opening scene? Right. Is it like a traditional opening scene where you have like it's like a scene and then it cuts away to Sam or whatever, or is it just like one sequence where like you have the introduction to these two characters, they get killed and it just continues, right? Like that could be something that's very interesting too. But anyway,
I would like to think, and then I'll get to the super chat. I would like to think that the opening is going to be something different, just a different way that it's presented, which I think that's a good idea. I mean, obviously 5 did things a little bit differently, and I think they should continue with 6. But we do have a super chat coming in from Jim from Now It's Dark, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Jim. We appreciate it. Saying, oh, geez, theory, Silver Shamrock is behind Ghostface mask.
Dude, I'm telling you that radio tower in the background of that shot is going to come back for the next movie. No,
wouldn't that be like, all seriousness though? Like, and hopefully Val doesn't hear me say this. Wouldn't it be so funny if there's some shot in the movie where they show some radio tower or something like that? They'd have their ear to the ground if that happened.
Oh my god!
And it's happening on a Halloween night. Could you imagine just going into the bodega and there's the TV on? And all you hear is dunkin', 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 dunkin'.
Oh,
walking
dude,
in.
come on,
bro!
Man, that would be so cool. They've got so many cool Easter eggs, which is really really neat. Like if they did something like that, that would just be like, wow, man. That would make it, and I can almost imagine seeing it in the theater. It's going to be a really good experience for the audience together. People cheering or clapping or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's shaping up to have that. And let's see, we got Extron in the chat too. What's going on, Extron? Good to see you. Ethan saying, how do we feel about Nev at this point? Still want her in the next one if we get one. Yeah, I do.
I think this movie is gonna really tell us a lot, right? Like I think this movie, like if this movie's good and it is like a consensus, like this is the best Scream movie we got, that doesn't bode well for Nev. It just doesn't, right? Because like if you can make the best Scream sequel without Nev Campbell, then why do you need Nev Campbell anymore? At that point, it's like, hey, we'd love to have you back, but you're gonna have to come back for what we want, and I just don't think she's gonna do that. She can't at this point. You can't do everything you just did and then come back for Scream 7 and take less money to play the role, because now you look like a hypocrite, right? So like it's just I think if this movie is successful, we might have seen Nev for the last time. Do I want her back? I wouldn't mind it, but I do think it's time to move on. I really do. I think if this movie's good and we show that we can move on without her, I think just move away. Just do something new, because we got to do it sooner rather than later. So just pull off the Band-Aid. I mean, the Band-Aid, unfortunately, been ripped off already. So not how I wanted it to happen. I would have loved for it to be like a happy ending. Everyone was good. Everyone's on the same page, and they just wrote her off. But it is what it is.
Unless there was some type of path that they had for her character, that was going to lead up into 7 and kind of some type of final whatever, whether it is walking off into the sunset or, you know, a showdown or something like that. I think that's one thing we don't know yet, which I'm really curious about. But you are right. 6 might give us either a hint of that, but it also will show, you know, how this movie will fare without her, which I think it'll still fare well. I don't believe that it's going to make people not want to watch this movie. Like, people are going to watch this movie. So
Yeah, I don't think.
what do you think, Jake?
I don't think we're gonna-
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, I want another story. I think in the future I want another story with Sidney, but right now I don't know if the story calls for it. You know, it's one of those things. Like, I would love for her to be attached to the next project, 100%. But like in 5, even, I just feel like she was there for third act backup. You know what I mean? Like, they gave her that whole scene where she's running around the house, and it was awesome. It was, you know, it was fucking sick. It was metal as fuck. But for me, I just feel like, let's finish out the Sam and Tara story. Let's see where that goes. Let's say we have another crazy point that we're left on at the end of 6. We do a 7, focusing on them again. And then if for the next movie, we want to start a new Sidney story, I'm down for it. And maybe 5 can be the setup for that in the future. You know what I mean? Like, maybe someone else picks it up. Someone else picks up the franchise and tries out a new story with Sidney. I'm down for it. I just want I want the story to be the best it can be. And if things get too crowded, if you're forcing things in there that just don't work, then don't do it. Like, do what is going to ultimately make for the best story. That's what I want for the franchise. Because if you're just shoehorning in Sidney Prescott, it might not be good. You know, maybe it'll suck if it makes no sense for her to be there again. You know, that's something I'm noticing rewatching 5 so many times. Is I'm like, I wish Sidney did more, but I couldn't give you the answer as to what that could have been. Like, what could Sidney have done unless this movie was 3 hours long? You know what I mean? Or cut Sam and Tara and all the new characters out of the picture. But I feel like it's either one or the other. It's really tough to make a good requel that flows perfectly like it's an original film, I guess.
Well, the last thing I'll say about Nev was that I have hope, because I do want her back. And the last interview I read with Radio Silence about 3 weeks ago said that Tyler said they absolutely love her. They want her to come back. So in there, as far as filmmakers, they want her to return. So that's really good news. And Nev wants to come back. She said that, she said that she feels the chapter of Sidney Prescott's not done, and that she said if they approach you with a different attitude and a different offer, then she is going to consider returning. So I hope that at the end of the day, there's reconciliation, and there's, and they can go write the movie that they wanted to make for 6, because we're getting the B version. This is not the original version of this movie that they wanted, that James and Guy envisioned for us. So we're seeing their alternate version of the movie. So I want to see that original for the next one, or maybe not, obviously not the same story, but I'm saying I want that opportunity for James and Guy to say, here's Nev, go have fun, go write.
For me, my thing about Nev Campbell not being in this one is, like, we're in New York City. It makes sense for Gail to get involved. There's a lot, like, all these pieces and parts, it all makes sense, especially if the whole thing about, like, Kirby being an FBI agent, like, if that's true, then yeah, makes sense why she's there. For me, if we're going to do a Scream 7 and Sidney's going to get incorporated back into the story, it's got to take place in Chicago, where she lives, and it's got to have some kind of center around her. I think the Ghostface killer has to have something to do with Sidney again this time around, where, like, Richie and Amber, yeah, they have the whole thing about, like, oh, we got to kill you, sorry, but, like, that's not their end goal, is to kill Sidney Prescott again, So, like, if we could somehow work that into a story with Sam, Tara, and Sidney and all that, yeah, I'm down for fuck, Nev Campbell's awesome. I'm so down for that. But otherwise, I would rather them just focus on the story that they're fleshing out right now. And then, hey, listen, man, there's plenty you can do with Sidney. I mean, she has a whole family now. There's plenty of reasons for another person to go Ghostface and want to kill her in another story. So more than anything, I just want what they're setting up right now to be just finished in a way that feels really satisfying for fans. And I don't know. I want Sidney back, but I hope it's purposeful and not just for fan service, I guess, is my big thing at the end of the day.
Yep.
Right. No, I agree with that. Absolutely. And also we have a super chat coming in from Radioactive Cosmic Rays. Wow, I love that. Oh, wow. $5 super chat saying, do you guys think the subway scene is legit or not? Showing more than 2 Ghostface killers. One of the Ghostface looks similar to the one in the store. I think it's legit.
I think
it's legit. It doesn't it doesn't necessarily mean that that both are killers. It could be someone that's just dressed up as ghost. That's going to be the fun of this to me, is the fact that it's Halloween, is that you're not going to know. And I hope that, now you got me thinking, and I hope that we have some scenes like they have with the subway scene where, as the viewer, we don't know either. We're like, well, wait a minute. Is that just someone who's dressed up as Ghostface going to get some candy, or is that one of the killers? I think that could be really, really fun.
And man, I'll tell you what, there better be a chase or a kill on this train. They're hyping this up. I mean, like the sound effect when you end the trailer is the the little train noise. Dude, they are hyping this specific scene up big time. It better be something really special. That's I'm 100% thinking this is going to be a big crazy murder spree or something. Just something big here. It's got to be that at this point. I'm too hyped up for the subway scene for it not to be.
yeah, I agree. What about you guys?
Craven?
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely. I agree. A chase scene, as much as you can do on a crowded subway car, it's going to be a slower chase. It'll be more like the wheelchair scene in 5, but there'll be slower movements because there's so many people. But that can still be terrifying, right? So, but my big thing is get the doors open and let's see him running through the station. And I do think though that the masks are going to be key, because I know that we've seen 3 for sure different masks: the opening kill alleyway, the aged mask, and the subway mask. And I believe that they mean something, and I do personally believe they're 3 different people. I actually do. I think whoever wears the aged mask wears it every time, and same for the other 2. And I believe that we've got our first 3 killer movie, and they've revealed it to us. Yeah.
Yay!
I know. Very excited.
What do you think? Real quick, just to go off that, I'll be so quick with this. What do you think about that teaser where Jenna Ortega is like 3, 2, 1, and it's all of them wiping the knives? Listen, she counts down from 3, and it seems kind of pointless in my opinion. Seems like maybe they're alluding to something else. That's all I'm gonna say. That is a stretch too. I want to point that out as well, but something I noticed.
Hey man, yeah, I dig it, man.
Me too. And Radioactive, thank you so much for that super chat. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
And let's see. Million also had a comment coming in. What's up, Million? Saying we may not even get a reveal like Ends. We may not get a traditional structure and outcome. I'm looking forward to it. That is true, or it may be. Yeah, I do agree, especially if it does end on some type of cliffhanger, or if it ends in a way where, a couple of us have talked about this, where we know there's an end that isn't tied up, and I'd be fine with that. I'd absolutely be fine with that. I think it could happen. This, again, the setup for this movie, it's so different that there's so many great possibilities, and the trailer is showing that we might have some of those possibilities happening, and that's what's really exciting to me. What about you guys?
I really think at least one killer we don't get revealed. If there's 3 killers, I think we get the 2 traditional reveals, but I do think we're gonna get that third that gets away, which I think would just add so much tension to the future, right? I mean, imagine like the surviving characters knowing that there's another Ghostface still out there. Like, imagine how much you're always looking over your shoulder. Like, you could pick up Scream 7 exactly where that left off. They know, like, you can't go to the bathroom, because if you go to the bathroom, the Ghostface will be waiting in the stall. Like, you go to Omar Epps. You try to go to sleep, like he's like laying in your bed. Like, it's like it just, to add that tension, I think would just be something. Would be something incredible,
Absolutely. And we have Evangelia coming in saying, the first live stream, I have a good feeling about this movie. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And welcome,
me too.
Welcome to the live stream.
Welcome to the first live stream. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. It's awesome.
Hope you enjoy it.
Absolutely, yes. And also coming in with a $10 super chat.
Ooh,
Thank you so
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Seriously. Welcome. Saying, what is the one thing that is unlikely that you hope comes to fruition? Well, that's a good
We know Craven's
question.
answer.
Oh, stop.
We all know Craven's answer.
Well, that was quick, man.
Wow.
You're so fast, Fate.
That was easy.
I will go last since everyone knows my answer.
Or just go first to get it out the way. So
Yeah, get it out of the way. Let's
Let's
right.
do this, man.
I'm not ashamed.
Because you know how this may take us down a certain path. Shame.
No.
Shame.
Without shame, I would say loudly and proudly, the return of one Stuart Macker. And, if I knew his middle name, I'd give you the middle name too. But
Jeffrey.
Stuart, not going to happen, Mom.
But
Stuart Jeffrey Macker. Sorry.
Anyway, Stu Macker. There we go. Get it up. Yeah. And again, I don't want him in 6. I've said for months now, I really want to wait till 7 because I think that's the way to close out the trilogy. But if he's in 6, I will be happy. I will not say, oh, no, send him back. I won't do that. But I do hope it's 7. But for me, Evangelia. I'm sorry, I'm tearing up your name. I apologize. It's a beautiful name. But I would want Stu Macker to be the mastermind involved behind all of this stuff. And we find out he was involved from 5 and 6 and 7. So that's mine. Yeah.
All right. How about you, Fate?
I think that this is probably my answer would be like, this is a part 1 to part 2. Like, I really hope that happens. Like, and what I mean by that is that, like, this is like almost like a setup film for something grander. You know, the old Ghostface mask. You got like everything in this movie just seems grand, right? You got this like shrine room. You got like all these characters. You got all these stakes. Like, it just seems like they're like, this is like the Infinity War to the end game, right? Like that's what I'm hoping this is. Like that's something that I think that I would like to see. That I don't. If I'm being honest, I don't think that's. I do think we probably end on a cliffhanger, but I don't think it's going to be this like setup film that leads to a Scream 7. I think it'll be just like its own, like how every Scream movie is. It's basically its own conclusive film. You have to start rolling in. I do think they'll follow that formula in this movie, but I hope that they don't. I hope that you got a beginning, a middle, and then like a new beginning that's going to bleed into Scream 7. And really kind of just like you could pick up right for Scream 7 because we're getting a Scream 7. It's happening. So
right.
Might as well, like, if you know that, might as well just have it be a 1 of 2. You know, so even kind of like a Halloween, Halloween kills and Halloween ends. You know, like Halloween ends, but
don't do it.
Maybe Scream will do it right.
I was like, you're wanting it to be something like Halloween ends. Like,
no, but I mean how Halloween Kills ended with so many questions and just like, whoa, okay, like,
right.
Like we know that there's more to come, and we thought originally that Ends was just gonna pick up and run away with it, but instead they decided to make a different movie and just okay. Let me stop.
Take the ball, Jake. Take the ball.
Absolute trash. Go Knight. Your turn.
Well, listen. If Craven gets to have Stu come back in 6, then I'm gonna have my selfish, guilty pleasure character come back as well. Jill is coming back, No Way Home style. A portal is gonna show up in Scream 4 all the way back in 2011. Bear with me now. I want her to step through it. She shows up just like, what the hell's going on? No, I'm kidding. I don't want any of that to happen. But Jill, I love Jill, man. Listen, give me another Jill in Scream 6. That's what I want. I want like a crazy female slasher killer running around, stabbing people in the face, eating eyeballs, biting into rats, all that good stuff.
There it is. All right.
Yeah, that's all I got.
For me, I would love it in whether or not this movie does have a cliffhanger or leans heavily into what 7 is. I would love this one to really just be a story that's tying up everything. Like, when we see the shrine and it's the callback to all the killers and stuff like that, like you get a sense that that's at least a little part of it. I hope it's a huge part of it. I hope this really ties everyone together. And I would absolutely love it if there was some way that they tied in Angelina. That would be awesome. I don't think it's gonna happen, but wouldn't and shout out to my man Maverick Media in the chat. Check out his channel, of course. But it would be so cool if they tied in Angelina. He's got a great theory about it that is so cool that actually could work for this movie. But I don't know if they would do that. But it would be so cool. And I think it would be so cool because one, it's a character that has that mystery. There are a lot of, unanswered questions. And, it kind of be a little bit of a nod to Wes, because that's what he wanted to do with 3. And of course, the Weinsteins said, no, he can't do that. So anyways, but Evangelia, thank you so much. We appreciate the super chat. Very kind of you. We appreciate the generosity. And we're glad you're here. Thank you.
Don't be a stranger. We're here twice a week.
Yes.
That's
Monday
right. Yeah. That's our work shift.
Yes.
It's kind of the way you said it.
2 hours a week, guys. Jeez.
We're
breaking my back over here.
Working hard over here. But,
Right.
there's something that I want to touch on real quick that kind of ties into like what we were just talking about. And then I got to skate on out of here. I got a date with a potential car. So not the Bentley. Not the Bentley yet. We're getting there. But
wow.
But no. So did you guys see the supposed Paramount tweet and delete?
I did. I've got a screenshot of it.
Yeah. So I have a video posting. I already made it and scheduled it for later. So I have a video scheduled to dive into that. But it was posted in Spanish, and it basically says, because I have it right here. Scream 6 hits theaters with an upgraded Ghostface and ready to redeem its mistakes March 9th, only in theaters. So again, it's in Spanish, or it was posted in Spanish and then deleted. The reason I think that this is interesting is because it says that Ghostface redeems its mistakes. Right now, of course, you could be speaking generally, where it's just, every Ghostface has failed up to this point. You even have a moment in the film where Ghostface says, I'm different and stuff like that. So you could be speaking generally. You could be speaking to what Craven hopes for, which is that like Stu Macker or Jill or somebody returns to redeem
Angelina.
themselves. Yeah, or Angelina, something like that. The character in the past comes to return to redeem themselves. Yep. The other thing that immediately popped into my mind when I saw that, and I go more in depth in the video because there's 4 of us. I don't want to go too in depth into it, but we keep getting signs that Kirby is involved. So what was the thing that everyone said about Kirby? Everybody said Kirby's going to redeem herself.
Right. A redemption story.
And now you have a killer that's going to redeem itself. You could tie that in. And then in the trailer, you have Kirby who says the exact same line verbatim that Ghostface says when he's talking to Gail. Sorry. When he's going after Gil. They say the exact same line. You hear the overlay of Kirby saying the line, and then Ghostface says it later in the thing about how I'm different this time, blah 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 blah. Right. So you have the character definition of Kirby that's been relayed by several people now being translated as Ghostface, and then you have something that Kirby says in the trailer that gets actually said by Ghostface. Now it could be something that is just, again, it's just coincidence or red herring, or maybe it's done deliberately to make us think. But it also could be, I'm going to use a supernatural reference here because I know my guys love it.
Man.
Oh
It's
boy.
supernatural when Cass says one of the Dean says a line, and then Cass says, Superman turned dark side, and then that's how they know he turned evil. Telling you. That's what
Yeah. I totally know what you're talking about there, man.
Yeah, man. That was good times. Good times.
What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I just want to tag on. There's that image of Melissa who's got Kirby's gun trained on someone.
That's another point.
That's another clue that something's going on with Kirby, because obviously, that's Kirby's pistol. So how does she get it? Does that mean Kirby's on the floor deceased or injured? That's possible. Or could there be a situation where she overtook it from Kirby, and at the reveal, and she got it from her, and now she's pointing it back to Kirby.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Could be.
To also add to that, they did say Ghostface has been planning this for a long time, and Kirby's been gone for a long time. So that's something else, right? Like, so they said Ghostface has been planning this for a long time. We haven't seen Kirby in 12 years. She could have been planning this for 12 years. Get to a position of power to where she can control things. Worked her way up the ladder, got there, and now she's going. I mean, you could even paint the picture to where she was involved, right? And that's why she survived.
Well, and going back to a theory that I had like a while back, like I remember pitching a theory where I was like, what if this Ghostface like kind of has good intentions and wants to stop Ghostface killings from happening? Like essentially the Ghostface to end all Ghostfaces. Why would someone want to do that just out of, is it just random? No, it's going to be someone who was involved with this in the past if that's going to happen. So if they're going to make, like, listen, we haven't seen Kirby in like 10 years. A lot can happen in 10 years to somebody. So who knows what happened to her after the events of the Scream 4? Maybe she kind of lost it, Maybe she's like, listen, we got to stop this so it never happens to anybody else again. So I'm going to kill everybody else so that nobody can seek retribution anymore. Like, this can never happen again if I just kill all these people. And then it's over. No one else gets linked into it or whatever. We're done if all these people die. So are we looking at the killer right now? Who knows?
I mean, you're right. So, like, I forgot you weren't in the last live stream. I even said, like, if you look at serial killers in real life, usually a traumatic event or some abuse or something ends up leading to that. Like, you never hear, like, yeah, Billy was just a great kid. Like, his family was great.
Right.
Like, like, everything about his life was just perfect. It's always like, no, he was, picked on. His father beat him, like, whatever. It's always some, like, or like something crazy traumatic happened that caused that person to snap, and then they take on the mantle. Like, so it would make sense. She survived a traumatic event. Maybe she just snapped or she wants it to be done. She just wants this to be over with. And the only way to do that is just kill everybody off to where there's nothing left. It's definitely an interesting thought, an interesting plot point. If I'm being honest, I don't think they're going to go that route, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like, what else would be more shocking than Kirby? Nothing. Like
Tara's.
Well, I was just about to say.
I think Tara is probably the closest argument, but I think a lot of people, one, want to see that, and two, kind of feel like she was involved, right? I mean, they could have killed her, and instead they tied her into the closet, right? Like, so why, right? Like, so I think that would be obvious. All the new characters, easily you believe one of them is Ghostface, if not all of them, right? So that's not really going to be a big shock. The Meeks twins, you can make an argument for both of them. Sam, many people think she's going to go dark side, so I don't think that would be a huge shock. Plus, they did that with Jill. Like, I think the only thing that would be like, no way, would be like Kirby. And I think that would just piss a lot of people off, which is, means people are going to talk about it, which means it's going to draw a lot of buzz. I mean,
but I think with Kirby, it makes sense. Like, I think she could have a motive. You could write that.
Yeah,
with
they
Tara,
could work that out.
Yeah, right. With Tara, you're gonna have to do a lot of explaining. Like, you're gonna have to show me a lot to make all that make sense, in my opinion. And like, the only reason I think a lot of people want to see her as Ghostface is just because she's Jenna Ortega. Like, I don't think it's because there's not really a motive or a reason. It's just like, oh, Jenna Ortega is a killer. Because like, I want to see that. I want to see that too. But if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
Yes, absolutely. And real quick too, we got a couple more super chats that just jumped in. We've got let's see, Sarah coming in with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate that.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sarah. Oh gosh. Saying, when you said no way home style, my brain went to Homeward Bound, and I pictured Jill trying to find her way to Woodsboro like the dogs in that movie.
Oh gosh.
A sympathetic Jill movie.
Yes.
Oh god.
Wow.
The dogs in that
Love
movie.
it. That's a good one, Sarah. Thank you so much for the super chat.
I'm going to remind folks not to put spoilers in the chat too.
Yeah,
No spoilers, guys.
Yes, please
block that out.
And we also have Jonathan coming in with a $5 super chat, saying, if this is a tactical Ghostface, Kirby has to be the one getting these guys. She's a cop. She can get some dangerous criminals. to do her dirty work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's definitely she has the connections and the resources to do that. I talked about that. We talked about that when we watched the trailer. That scene in the bodega when Ghostface is moving and shooting the shotgun and everything looks very experienced, looks confident, looks like this is just another day in the park. This is not a kid in a costume.
Yeah.
Now we might find out that it is, but I'm hoping not. He really moved, or she moved really, really smooth and agile. Even when the shotgun was taken away and the hit across the face, it looked like someone that has like some super training, man.
It's very militant. This Ghostface seems very like, and look, a killer for hire makes a lot of. I mean, Mickey was a killer for hire. He was a serial killer from Ghostface, right? Mrs. Loomis paid for everything. She got his funding and everything. So they've already had a killer for hire before. Maybe that's what this is. Like, how great would it be if, like, you get the reveal at the end and it's just some guy and they're like, "Who are you? Why are you doing this?" And it's like, because of her.
It's my job. It's what I do.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
it was business. It wasn't personal.
Nothing personal, Sam.
Yeah, it's just business. I don't even know you.
Yeah, business is business. What if it's Ryan Reynolds from Deadpool?
Oh, jeez.
That would be amazing.
Oh man, what do you guys what do you think, Steven or Jake, as far as like Kirby being the one to hire Ghostface killer or killers?
Yeah, man. See, the thing about being in law enforcement, and for Kirby, FBI, that's even a level higher because you have connections federally. So she has leverage. So it would be easy for her, number one, to recruit some bad apples. There's some corrupt cops that maybe share her vision for what she wants to do. They could be all police, but you don't want to do that. I don't think they would do that. I think it'd be more likely you'd have her having these ex-cons that she's got dirt on, and say, look, I'm going to ignore these, this box of white sugar powder that you got or whatever. And you're going to do this. But, it could be ex-military. They could be people that were in the service that are no longer in the service. And they could be former cops even, SWAT team members. So you have all possibilities there. And she basically coerces them and with her power to make them do it. And she puts together this little army. Sorry about my voice, guys. It is not being kind to me today. I normally don't sound like this if you're new here. I promise. But anyway, so that's I think that I think it's plausible. In other words, I could buy that if it's the reveal. I wouldn't be like, oh, there's no way. No, I'd be like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, and my thing is like if Kirby's the main one, like doing all the crazy shit in the mask, trying to kill Gale, trying to kill everybody else, I'm like so down. I'm so down for that crazy reveal. I want to I want to hear this crazy speech from her about all that. I think it's unlikely. I will say that I think it's unlikely because she was kind of a last minute addition. I feel like it's maybe more likely that she is going to die in this one, which I don't think people want to hear that. But listen, it's not. I just don't know if it's a bad thing to die in a horror movie. I think everyone thinks that, but man, I'll tell you what, I would do anything to get murdered by Ghostface, even if it was like the worst kill in Scream history. I don't care. That would be awesome. But I don't know, man. If they do end up going this route, I think it would be fucking awesome to have an ending scene where it's her doing like a whole speech about going all the way back to 4, connecting 4 into 5 and 6, making this somewhat of like a weird, very, very weird and strange trilogy that you could watch that is technically one long story. I'm so down for that. If they can make that work and execute it well, go for it. Like, yes, if that's the risk that Matt and Tyler were talking about earlier last year, I'm here for it, man. Let's see it happen.
Yeah, I agree. That would be something. Jonathan, thank you so much for that super chat.
Yes,
we really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yes, but real quick, guys, I gotta get on out of here. I got a date. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with us or hanging out with me. Sorry I couldn't stay the whole time, but cutting out about 10 minutes early. But I appreciate all of you. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel on the way out, gentlemen. I appreciate you.
All right, brother.
Appreciate you too, man.
See you Friday.
Catch you later, man. All
See
right.
ya.
Peace.
And we have Edge coming in saying, I have a theory. There are 4 killers. One dies in the opening, one in the second act, one dies in the third act, and the fourth gets away. That could be interesting. I really do believe there's, 3, and it's probably more, so it could be 4. It could be, I think that's, it makes sense for this movie, and we've seen a couple scenes in that trailer that pretty much give away that there's definitely more than one, and we got at least 2. I'm thinking 3.
Me too.
What are you guys thinking?
Well, I guess my question is, if there are 3, are you like 100% sure on a few people, or what are your thoughts on that? I'm just curious.
You mean who they are?
Yeah, who do you think they are if it is 3 people?
Man, I'll be honest. I've got a couple of different ways, and that's kind of the fun of it. And I know you guys appreciate that about Scream as well. There's a couple different ways that they could go with it. There's a part of me that's thinking, if we have 3 killers, maybe there's one that's kind of, whatever you want to call it, the mastermind. Then there's one that's hired, and then there's one that could be, one of the characters that we're like, oh, interesting. You know what I mean? That's probably the one that I go with the most in my head, but it could be like so many combinations. It really could.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, and I'm doing a video on this. I hope if my voice will let me talk, I'm gonna do one later.
Do you got some water, man? Get some water.
Dude, I've been drinking water. I got a cough drop in my mouth right now. I can't even tell. Normally that does the trick.
Right.
So nothing's working right now. So, but I will say this. My thought is, you have. I'm gonna talk a little softer. Let me try this. You have Henry Czerny, who is the therapist, psychologist for Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So what if he is the mastermind? You notice we don't see him anywhere in his trailers.
That's right. He's the only one.
Yep. No visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So how about maybe he potentially is the mastermind, and he's got someone infiltrating the friend group. So it could be, Devin, Liana, Jack, Champion, one of these new ones that are part of it. And he could have, look, think back to, just think about a cult leader. And we talked about this on the People versus Stu Macker. Jen, well, thank you, Jen. I'm not trying to sound sexy, but I appreciate the compliment. That's so funny. I just saw that in the corner of my eye. But, cult leaders, a therapist, and it's not to say every therapist gets to be a cult leader. Don't misunderstand me, okay? But I'm just saying, if you're charismatic and you have the ability to manipulate, understand psychology, how we think generally, tendencies, all that stuff, that could be someone who's a good mastermind, because he can get into people's heads, and he also would make a great cult leader, because he knows how to manipulate and massage the thinking of a group. So
great point. Great point, man.
I'm just saying,
And he probably has some bread to pass out too, some money,
That's it. Yeah. He could fund the money for this shrine.
That's right.
Okay, now going off of that, what if Henry Czerny is like one of the first ghost faces not to appear in the costume? Like, what if he's kind of like his character in Ready or Not, where it's like he's kind of just running the operation? Henry Czerny doesn't really kill anybody, or he doesn't really try to kill. I forgot her fucking name. Samara Weaving's name in that movie. I literally just watched it and I can't think of her name. But he he's kind of just ordering his family around the whole time. He would be perfect to slip into essentially that same role here in Scream 6 and be the guy that's bossing all the other ghost faces around. So he could be the guy, like the top dog, while he's got, let's say, Dermot Mulroney and Kirby running around doing his dirty work for him,
Right.
Dude, could you
I'd be all for it.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say I'd be all for it because he can play that type of character so well, you know.
Yeah,
and it would be something a little bit different because he's actually not in the costume. You know, he could have a great scene where he's got some amazing dialogue, you know, just that villain turn or whatever. And it really does fit. Like that's a piece of the puzzle that fits very easily. Now, of course, there's that other part of me thinking maybe that's too easy. You know, it's fitting too easy for us. Yeah. But just on paper, as far as how this movie is set up, you know, with things like the shrine and you know, someone that seems like they're very well trained, and you know, how do you have these resources, and how do you manipulate other people, kind of like what Steven was saying, you know, he's trained to do that. Whereas in the other movies, whether it was the motive or the two people were friends or, you know, tight buddies or whatever. So with this is a different type of connection between these killers. So like you said, he would have the technique to really get into people's heads, and that actually makes sense. So I don't know, man.
Man. Could you imagine this scene somewhere and he's in his office, and I'm thinking this is like obviously third act, way deep.
Yeah.
And he's in his office and he's like, yes, you can come in now. Hangs up the phone. The door opens. Three Ghostface costumes walk in to his office.
That would be badass.
Man. And he says, it's time. What we've been waiting for. It's time. And they do the third act in the shrine. And we don't know who the Ghostfaces are. They're in costume. But he's got these three people he's working as his little group. And then
that would be so cool.
We get a reveal early that he's the mastermind, but we still don't know who the three killers are.
Right.
And you know, to going off of that, if this is all in like one night, like the majority of the movie takes place in one night, that would be kind of perfect, because you're like, you know, he's in charge, and maybe him and Sam like have a meeting earlier in the day or something, you know, like you know he's in charge, and you're like, okay, but he's not really like a threat, you know, he's not the one running after them. They're not going to figure out that he's in charge of all of it. You know what I mean? Like they're looking for the people running around in the costumes trying to kill them.
Right.
And I almost feel like the whole movie is going to be like this big chase, like trying to get away or trying to piece things together, figure out who they are, get back to the shrine for some reason. Because like what Tara says, we got to trap them here. You know, we got to get all of them back here. So it's more about that. So if you revealed that to the audience, that would be fucking awesome. Actually, I would be so down for that, because the whole time you're like, oh, this guy's in charge of two other people. Now it's finding out who those two people are. I'm down for that. That's insane to me.
I would love
that. Would be such a different structure for a Scream movie too. I'd love it.
It would. So you guys got a sneak peek of my next video, if I can talk, and maybe tomorrow till I can record it. But it's coming.
Well, I hope your voice is better, bro.
Thanks, man.
Let's see. And Jim's coming in with a $5 super chat. Thanks so much, man. From
Thank
Now
you, Jim.
It's Dark. Saying end credit, Kirby on the phone, a male voice, Stu asking her, is it done? Kirby says she never showed up. Male voice says, fine, I'll do it myself, like Thanos.
Get it up.
Dude,
let's go.
that would not be horrible. Jake, Jake's laughing. What do you think?
Can he
Jake?
also pick up like an Infinity Gauntlet at the same time too? Can he have purple skin? That would be great. Like I would lose, my head would actually like combust and explode. That would be ridiculous.
Oh. Jake's like, we just came off this amazing theory.
Yeah, then we did this.
He's vibing. Now Stu's back, baby. Hey, listen, I'm all for it. You know me. Let's go.
No, but I mean, seriously. All right, let's go with this for a second. So it goes the way we just said, with Zerny kind of, you know, leading the way. We go through the movie. You know, I don't know exactly how we want it to end, but I guess obviously, you know, from Jim's theory, Kirby's involved. So if everything worked out in the movie the way we thought, and the way we just said it, and then at the end of the movie this played out, Jake, what do you think? I mean, could you handle it?
I'll tell you this,
without the purple skin, of course.
Right. No Infinity Gauntlet, no purple skin, not on a spaceship. Honestly, it wouldn't ruin the movie for me. It wouldn't. It genuinely would not. Especially if this is like an end credits thing or whatever. This was set up for the next movie. it's one of those things I'm like, you got to do Scream 7 very carefully then, in my opinion. You got to execute everything right, or one little wrong turn in that story and it's going to suck. Like, you got to make that fucking perfect, crystal clear. Everything's got to be thought out. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things bringing Stu back that, like, if someone were to come to me and they're like, Jake, here's $35 million. Give us a fucking script where Stu comes back. I'd be like, no, sorry. Oh my God. Like, I would be terrified to write that script. I don't think I could make, I don't think I could make 50% of the fan base happy with something like that. You know what I mean? Because it's so tough to try to work that in now at this point. It's a near impossible task in my opinion. But if they wanted to try it and attempt it, I appreciate the ambition. I say go for it. If that's something they want to do, go for it. Sure. But I personally, I have thought about it for this is literally this is my job, and I think about it every day. I got nothing. Like, I got zero ideas on how they could do it where it would make more than 50% of the fan base happy.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, if you get that phone call, I would volunteer my consulting services, and I could definitely help you craft that story, my friend.
Well, you would be the first person I would call without a doubt. Like, just know that.
Yes, sir. We could do it, baby. And listen, and it could happen in this trilogy still. I mean, it could. I know. I hear what you're saying, though. You gotta write it well. You gotta really nail it. But yeah, I'm excited.
Steven, you don't want it to just be fan service, right? Like, you want it to be a little more like written in, make it make sense, like that's my thing that I feel like would be really tough to try to explain. Like, you'd have to show, like, what was the guy doing through 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 now that he was just sitting in the shadows. Why was he waiting until now? That would be fuck, man. That would be I would be tough. I don't envy the guy that has to write that story, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that we have that helps us is you have the Sam factor. And I think that's the wild card in all of this with Stu, because the reason he waited, because he didn't have anything to wait for until he found out that Billy has a daughter. Well, now he's got incentive to come back. He wants to come back. And I think if it was me writing or consulting, we would go that angle to make it all about wanting to rekindle that Loomis connection that he had with Billy. And the closest you can get to Billy is his offspring, his own child. And so, and I won't spend the rest of the night talking about Stu, but that's the angle I would go towards anyway, as a starting point. And
it's laid out.
Yeah, it is.
It's right there in front of you. So, like, to me, that would be a workable and plausible situation, because obviously the other thing about it too is Stu is crazy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And maybe there was a period of time where, not saying that he wasn't, but maybe he was just like, whatever. And now finding out about Sam, that kind of starts something all over again or whatever. I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking. It's possible.
Yeah, I stand behind my thought that as long as Sam Carpenter, the minute they introduced her as Billy's daughter, then in my mind, you open at least the door. Doesn't mean they're going to do it, but the door's open to make a story out of it now. That makes sense, because it's not just about, revenge or whatever. It's about Sam and wanting to be close to Sam. So I would buy that. Like, I think that makes, you still got to do a really good job of it. But I mean, I would buy that premise at least.
I mean, my other thing will. My only other thing about that is, and I haven't seen 6 yet, so actually this could change. But I think if you're gonna go that route, you got to do something where it's like, well, like, what's he doing during 6? Like, let's say he doesn't get revealed during 6. Now you got to write 7 with Stu coming back. If you do something like this, you got to give me a reason why he wasn't in 6, because after 5, that totally gets publicized. Like, I haven't seen 6 yet, but I would guarantee you that everyone in the world knows that she's Billy Loomis's daughter now at this point.
Right.
And that's been going on for a year going into the events of 6. So now let's say it's another year going into 7. Why is Stu showing up now instead of immediately after the events of 5? You know what I mean? On top of that, you'd have to write even more. You know what I mean? You'd have to give us yet another excuse as to why you didn't show up for 2 years. You know, it's like, man, I don't know, man. It's so much more than just the simple like solve of giving him the motive. It's like what obstacles were put in his way to getting to Sam, to getting into this situation again. I don't know, man. Once again, it would be a tough task in my opinion.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Well, one saving grace I would say is if they get Sidney back in 7, he could say I didn't come back in 6 because Sidney was not around.
2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So he had to wait till 7 because Sidney's back in play, and then that's how I think they can make that work. It's like, I had to wait a whole nother. He can actually say it in the movie. Like, I had to wait 2 years longer for this day because you were in hiding, or you know what I'm saying? Like that helps solve that disconnect. So, but that's why I want Sidney and Stu back in 7 more than 6. So, one step at a time, we'll
one step at a time, man. Well, I do want to see Nev come back. I really do think that would be awesome if she comes back in 7. And you know, I don't know exactly what their game plan for 6 was, but hopefully everything that leads into 7 is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah.
That's all I can hope for. Seriously. Jim, thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate it, man. It's very, very kind and generous of you.
Yes.
All right.
Keep that Stu train rolling, Jim.
Right?
Keep it rolling, buddy. Don't listen to the haters. Haters gotta hate.
That's right. All right, guys.
Listen, man, we'll see when it doesn't happen. You know, hey, man, you never know.
God.
Like I say, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Then we just set our eyes on 8. Let's see what happens for 8. There's going to be the story and directors and
never let it die. Never let it die, man.
That's right.
You can't.
That's right, man.
No way.
Very, very cool. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get ready to wrap up here. Oh my gosh. Any final thoughts that you guys have? Hey, Melissa, what's going on?
My final thought is Kevin Williamson already confirmed Stu is dead. that's my last thought. I almost forgot. God, I almost forgot about that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Which means nothing, as we know, because he confirmed Kirby was dead in an interview, that he killed her in his script, is what he said. And he said, and to me personally, she is dead. Kevin Williamson. Guess who's in Scream 6, baby? Kirby Reed's back.
Yes,
so I mean, that we already seen it. I appreciate his opinion on his characters. But just as we saw with Kirby, if a writer wants to write it or a director wants to do it, guess what? They'll do it. So
yeah, true enough.
Long live Stu, baby. Get it up.
Wow. All right. And Val, thank you for reminding folks. We have 100 people watching.
I love you too.
55 likes.
Yeah, Steven, you're wrong, but I love you, man.
Man.
Oh, wow.
Agape love, brother. No matter what. I love you.
You guys are too funny, man. All right, guys. Well, hey, if you guys in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it. Please hit the like button. That would help to support the channel. We'd appreciate it. And let us know in the comment section some of your other theories and thoughts. We had so many of them here. We couldn't get to them all. But let us know in the comment section, and we'll catch up with you guys there. So we'll catch you guys later. The collective has spoken. Peace.
Bye, guys.